The rain poured heavily as I stood under the flickering streetlight, my hands clenched into fists. I had spent my whole life trying to be good, playing by the rules, showing kindness, believing that if I did right by the world would do right by me. But that was a lie. People didn't want kindness. They saw it as weakness. They took advantage, betrayed me, and laughed when I fell. Every time I turned the other cheek, they slapped the other side harder. Every time I forgave, they pushed me further down. I thought doing good would make me strong, but all it did was put a target on my back. And when they finally took everything from me, my trust, my dignity, my soul, I realized something. They didn't want a good man. They wanted a monster. I tried. I really did. Even when they mocked me, I held my tongue. Even when they cheated me, I turned away. Even when they broke my trust, I gave them another chance. I believed in second chances, in the idea that kindness could change people. I told myself that if I kept showing love, if I kept proving that I wasn't like them, they would see my heart and treat me differently. But kindness wasn't enough. They saw my mercy as an invitation to take more. Every time I forgave, they took a deeper cut. Every time I let something slide, they pushed harder. It wasn't just one betrayal, it was a pattern, a cycle that kept repeating. I gave and gave, but the world never gave back. And then one day I snapped. It wasn't an explosion of rage. It wasn't a loud moment of defiance. It was quiet, cold, a realization that no matter how much good I did, it would never be enough. They didn't want me to be kind. They wanted me to break. They wanted the monster they kept trying to create. The moment of change wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was a slow burn, like a fire creeping through dry wood, turning everything I used to be into ashes. I stopped caring about being good. The first time I fought back, it felt unnatural. Hesitation, doubt, a lingering whisper of my old self telling me to stop. But then I saw the fear in their eyes. The same people who had mocked me, who had taken advantage of my kindness, now flinched at my presence. And something inside me awakened. I burned the old rules. I erased the old me. There was no more mercy, no more second chances, no more turning the other cheek. I trained. I studied. I learned from the very monsters who had once tormented me. I became sharper, colder, more dangerous. The moment I embraced the darkness, I realized the truth. Power wasn't given to the kind. It was taken by those ruthless enough to claim it. And for the first time in my life, I felt truly alive. They thought they had broken me, but they had only built something stronger. I no longer walked with hesitation. Every step was calculated, every move precise. The fear in their eyes was my new currency, and I spent it well. The whispers followed me wherever I went, stories of how I had changed, how I had become something else. They had wanted a monster. Now they had won. The first time I struck back, it was personal. I hunted down the ones who had taken advantage of me, the ones who laughed when I suffered. They didn't laugh when I showed up at their doorstep, when they saw in my eyes that I was no longer the man they once knew. And then, it wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about power, control, respect. I became the one people feared, the one they whispered about in dark corners. No longer a victim. Now I was the enforcer. The rules didn't apply to me anymore because I had rewritten them in blood and fire. But power came with a price. The more I embraced the monster, the less I recognized the man I used to be. I had become something unstoppable, something untouchable. And yet, in the dead of night, when the world was silent, I wondered, had I won? Or had they? Standing at the edge of it all, I looked back at the path I had walked. The destruction, the fear, the power. I had become everything they pushed me to be. The weak, naive version of me was long gone, buried under the weight of my own transformation. But now, with everything in my hands, a question haunted me. Was this who I wanted to be? I had earned respect, but it wasn't the kind I once sought. People listened when I spoke, but not out of admiration, out of fear. The world finally moved out of my way. But at what cost? I stood before the final crossroads, fully embraced the monster, burned the last remnants of my past, and walked deeper into the darkness. No more doubt, no more hesitation. Only power, only control. Seek redemption. Turn my strength into something greater. Use the fear I had instilled to change things for the better, to create something beyond revenge. Stay in the shadows, neither good nor evil, just a force that exists. Unpredictable, untouchable, a legend whispered in both fear and awe. The choice was mine alone. The world had created monster, but what kind of monster would I be?